So, friends, Attorney General Pam Bondi threatened to use the powers of the Department of Justice to, quote, target people who engage in what is First Amendment protected free speech. Pam Bondi is really not very good at attorney generaling. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Pam Bondi continues to prove to the American people that she is entirely ill-suited to be Attorney General. Hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. Like it or not, that is what the Supreme Court has said. And yet, Pam Bondi said in an interview that she would use the powers of the Department of Justice to target people for hate speech. That's right. The Attorney General will target people for exercising their First Amendment free speech rights. Let's start with the new reporting. This from Time. Attorney General Pam Bondi has prompted a backlash from conservatives after signaling the Justice Department would prosecute hate speech in the wake of the killing of Charlie Kirk. This quote from Pam Bondi, quote, "There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there's no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie Kirk," Bondi said on a podcast hosted by conservative commentator Katie Miller, quote, "We will absolutely target you, go after you if you're targeting anyone with hate speech," close quote. And friends, even the Fox network knew that was wrong. Fox News political analyst Brit Hume said, quote, "Someone needs to explain to Ms. Bondi that so-called hate speech, repulsive though it may be, is protected by the First Amendment. She should know this," close quote. But friends, not to worry, because Pam Bondi apologized. She took responsibility for her horrific misunderstanding of our constitutional protections. She gave a full-throated apology. No, I'm just kidding. She actually tried to whitewash her constitutional blunder. She posted a walkback that was more misdirection than it was correction. Here is some of what she said in her walkback. Quote, "Hate speech that crosses the line into threats of violence is not protected by the First Amendment. It's a crime." And now comes Pam Bondi's call for unity. "For far too long, we've watched the radical left normalize threats, call for assassinations, and cheer on political violence. That era is over." And she goes on to post a bunch of other blather that seems designed to misdirect. But friends, here's the thing. In her first statement, she said that she will use the Department of Justice to target people for hate speech. In her second statement, which is not an apology, not a correction, not a retraction or a walkback of her first statement, in her second statement, she says, "Threats of violence are not protected by the First Amendment. Threats of violence are a crime." That's true. That's accurate. But Pam, that's not what you said in your first statement. In your first statement, you said you would target us for exercising our First Amendment free speech rights. if we engage in hate speech. And Madam Attorney General, you have not yet retracted or corrected your constitutional blunder. Now, hate speech, as ugly as it may be, is protected by the Constitution. So if people say, I hate you for the color of your skin, I hate you for your ethnicity, I hate you for your orientation, I hate you for who you love, I hate you for your immigration status, all protected by the First Amendment's free speech rights. But as Pam Bondi correctly notes in her second statement, threats of violence, which are different than hate speech, do not enjoy First Amendment protection. So for example, if somebody says, I am going to kill X, and X is a named person, that's a crime. That does not enjoy constitutional protection. If you say or post such things in interstate commerce, it's a federal crime. If you don't, if you just say it within a state, it's a state crime. Virtually all 50 states have statutes on the books prohibiting threats of violence. But that is not what Attorney General Bondi said she would target the American people for. She expressly said she would target them for hate speech, and she hasn't yet corrected that. So if I can humbly suggest, Madam Attorney General, that you may want to actually retract and correct what you said about using the powers of DOJ to target people for engaging in hate speech. You know, if you want to get better at this attorney generaling thing, and you know, you should want to get better at being the Attorney General for the United States of America, because not targeting people for exercising their constitutional rights, like justice, matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.